Formula One is packed with legendary drivers, epic rivalries, and unforgettable moments. But let's be real, when you hear the name Lewis Hamilton, it hits different, right? The man is a 7-time world champion, a record breaker, and, let's face it, one of the most polarizing figures in the sport. But even after holding over a dozen of Formula One records, beating the legendary Michael Schumacher himself, yet he still receives unprecedented hate from media, F1 drivers, and other key individuals in the sport. Since his entry in the world of F1, Lewis has been accused and spoken publicly against by some of his best mates and teammates time and time again. But why? What is so special about him that makes him a hate magnet in this sport? Is it just bad luck, jealousy, or even racism? To find out, we need to take a deeper look at some of Lewis's encounters against Formula One drivers. Spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with Lewis's driving style or talent. Rather, it's something more personal. In order to find out what exactly has been happening to Lewis all these years, we need to go back in time to April of 2011. Some context needed is if you don't know Adrian Sutil, he was a former German Formula One driver who was driving in Force India during the time. He was actually a very close friend to the world champion Lewis Hamilton with Mercedes. But after a victory in that year's Chinese Grand Prix, the British driver decided to cut ties with the German driver after Adrian Sutil got into an altercation during the post-race party, wherein he was charged for causing bodily harm to a Lotus executive, Eric Lux, with a broken champagne glass. After his arrest, he was found guilty and charged a total of £167,000 fine with an additional 18-month suspension from Formula One. During his trials, he had hoped that Lewis Hamilton would present himself as a witness to the incident, but he never came to help him. Later, publicly, he mentioned these kinds of people I don't really respect. I respect Lewis Hamilton as a sportsman, but in private, he's not on my level, and I don't need to waste time with those people. I'm happy I realized what kind of a person he is, and even years after this incident, they never spoke about the friendship. When asked about this, Adrian added, and he always said he is my friend. He wished to suddenly disappear, so he changed his number. I saw him in the paddock and he always said, yeah, we can sit down and talk about it. But he never arrived. Adrian Sutil was left behind by the world champion. Amidst his lawsuit, he felt betrayed and disappointed by Lewis's lack of brotherhood towards his best mate in the paddock. And for years, when Sutil tried to make things right between him and Lewis, it was a dead end for him. He felt like an ignored man after Lewis's disappearance from his friends list in Formula One. Wow, that was a hard one to witness. I mean, I know Lewis did the right move to not get himself involved in unnecessary legal troubles, but damn, ignoring him like he never was an ally was kind of harsh. At least to me. Okay, now moving on to the next Lewis encounter with a teammate, which we all know as the greatest rookie of all time, Fernando Alonso, who has been world champion on 2 occasions during the 2005 and 2006 with Renault. But when Alonso switched to McLaren the following year, his teammate was an actual rookie, Lewis Hamilton. In 2007, though, it was a relationship which was riven with bitterness and animosity, an elite-level partnership which soon descended into name-calling and petty on-track maneuvers. The 2006 GP2 Series winner was supposed to be the dutiful understudy, but tore up the script in the first race of 2007 in Melbourne by overtaking Alonso into the first corner and running second for a large duration before finishing in third behind the Spaniard. From here, it was clear the youngster was a threat to the driver, previously considered the phone gold standard, and by Monaco 4 races later, had decided he wasn't going to be subdued into second best by team orders. We get to Monaco and have the drivers running 1-2, with Fernando leading and Lewis second after the final pit stop, says Hallam. The deal was everybody turns the engines down, just go to the end, and that's the finishing order. So I told Fernando on the radio to reduce power. Hamilton, however, had already had his temper peaked. After being bottled up in second in the early stages, he'd been on course to overcut Alonso and claim the lead. McLaren saw the danger and potential team recriminations ahead and reacted by bringing him in early. Hamilton would take a brilliant win in Canada, after which Alonso made comments about his British team favoring its British driver, and again at Indianapolis, during which the Spaniard gestured to McLaren that it should let him have the win due to apparently being faster, which it didn't. Alonso then famously blocked Hamilton in the Hungary pits in qualifying, before threatening to give the FIA incriminating evidence in the 2007 Spygate scandal involving use of Ferrari design material. Before Hamilton's title challenge famously imploded, the McLaren pair finished the season with an equal tally, losing the Drivers' Championship to Kimi Raikkonen by 1 point. When interviewed about Alonso's views on Lewis Hamilton, he said, "We were in the same team, the same garage, we often traveled together, we were at meetings together, and we started to notice that there was friction. We were young, immature, and we had a lot of clashes. I don't think we will ever be friends in the future. I don't think we have many things in common." In conclusion, is it actually right to claim Lewis Hamilton as the most hated and arrogant driver on the grid today? Whether they've praised his skill, questioned his dominance, or shared their honest opinions, one thing is crystal clear: Lewis has left an undeniable mark on this sport. And I don't think that Lewis himself should ever feel guilty or feel bad for several of his career choices since his Formula One debut. I can understand that sometimes people do make mistakes. Obviously, Lewis is a human himself. He has made some grave missteps in his Formula One. I think people should be more considerate towards a person's feelings and maybe stop giving him a little bit of hate. It's not just about the wins or the records. It's about the way he's pushed boundaries and challenged everyone, drivers, teams, even fans, to see racing differently. That's what makes his story so powerful. So, what's your take? Is Hamilton the GOAT, or does the debate still have some laps to go? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more deep dives into the world of Formula One.